we are live, I think, I assume. Are we live? We look live. Hello, everybody. Everybody and anybody who is watching. We are going to be drafting some Battle Pack 2, War of the Giants. So, first pack is interesting. Cards that are standing out here. Card D is like decent. Like it's a bad Pot of Greed, but a bad Pot of Greed is pretty good. Graceful Charity is a lot better than Pot of Greed, but there's not too many payoffs for playing Graceful, so a lot of the time it is just seeing 3 cards from what I remember of this format. Cyber Dragon's real good. Cursed Armaments isn't bad either. Like, it's kind of a kill spell. Most of the spells and traps here are going to be 1-for-1 removal. I think we take Graceful because I think it's the most powerful card in the pack. So I think that's where I want to be. Pick one, and we'll see how we go from there. Yeah, let's go with Graceful. So pack 2, we have Call of the Haunted, which is quite strong. In fact, Call of the Haunted means that we can, if we get a few more ways to throw our high level monsters into the graveyard, then we could go for Call of the Haunted, and that way we could aim to throw stuff into the bin. Hello everybody in chat. Lucas, I was not at any competitive events at the weekend, but I did go down to Tullamore, which is about an hour away from Dublin, and ran a tournament at a convention there. So it was the first event that they had down there. It was kind of fun, and hopefully we will get more tournaments running there in the near future, because there's very few local game stores in Ireland, so it can be difficult for people to find a place to play. Pack 3, we have Doom Caliber Knight, which is really strong. We have Herald of Creation, which can let us go into one of those heavier decks as well. We have Autonomous Action Unit, which I think is quite strong. Fiend Sanctuary and Metal Reflect Slime both can act as tribute fodder. I think we will take the Cyber Dragon because it gives us a nice kind of midway point between, like, it gives us a decently sized monster. Yeah, I think Cyber Dragon is just really strong anyway. And then we'll pick up the other Cyber Dragon as well, and then we hope that the card car comes back around to us, because we'll happily take that. I think here we take... No, we don't want Power Giant. Pitch Black Werewolf is performing better than I expected it to, so we will take it. None of these high-level monsters are ones that we're like super fussed about, so I think we take Doom Caliber Knight because 1900 beaters are good, and it does other stuff as well. It like technically can be a downside, but I don't think it generally is much of a downside. Most of the time you're getting 2 cards for your 1 Doom Caliber Knight. We take the Ultimate Conductor because it's just so much bigger than anything else. The Superconductor Tyranno even. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno would be insane, although very difficult to summon. We'll take the Autonomous Action Unit. We'll take the Cyber Valley because it's better than Nightmare Steel Cage. Wabaku seems good. We'll take this. I doubt we're going to end up playing it, but we'll see. Then just take the beater. Yeah, okay. That was a reasonable first set of packs. Pack 2, we have another Trap Stopper In the Mirage Dragon, we have the Call of the Haunted. That's what I'm kind of looking at. The cards that I like most from this pack are Spike Shield, Duality, and Call of the Haunted. I don't think we're the kind of deck that really wants Spike Shield, but it's a super versatile card. I think we just take Gene Warped Werewolf. Card is very solid. There's a Winged Dragon of Ra. We could take the Winged Dragon of Ra. What are people's thoughts on Ra? Or do people have thoughts on Ra? He's a big dragon bird. That's all I know. I rate Ra pretty low down on the list of cards that I want to pick up in this format. Like, you have to commit so much life points to have it have any actual attack. So I think we will take Enemy Controller. Then this pack, we will take the Spike Shield. We will grab a... I don't think we have enough darks to go into Dark Lord Zerato, and I'm not bothered to try and draft a dark deck. So we will take the Ultimate Tyranno. Tempted to take Raw just because Raw is fun. We'll take the Armalise. Take a Mirage Dragon. I think when we have the big monsters, the things like Steel Cage become better, and Pitch Blacks and Mirage Dragons become better because they keep our big guys alive, because we're putting so many resources into our monsters. Which means Big Shield Gardener is good, Herald is potentially good, Extra Monster is good. Yeah, that looks fine. That looks reasonable. Sinister Serpent is the wrong printing for this format. Hey Fargo, potentially some PvP. I'm not planning to stay on too long though, because I do need to sleep, unfortunately. Raw is definitely fun, but fun does not necessarily translate to being a good card. Hyper Hammerhead is a fun card and a good card, but Shard of Greed also allows us to draw 2 cards, which is very tempting. Magician of Fate can also let us recur stuff, but I think we take Shard of Greed first. Then we take our Graceful Charity. We have double Call of the Haunted, so we can start just taking pretty big stuff. We'll take the big fiery mech guy, take the Magician of Fate. We will take another Spike Shield. Then we'll take a Hyper Ancient Beast. We should have taken Temple of the, or Mausoleum of the Emperor there. I will go Hyper Hammerhead. Hyper Hammerhead can be just insane in this format. Like, I think in the past I rated it lower than I should have, because against anything big it can just like gain you so much tempo, and the format seems to be very, very tempo reliant. What do people think of Battle Pack? I'd be interested if they were to release a new Battle Pack. Would you actively play it, or would you just try it out once and not really bother? Okay. Quite happily play most of the cards from this deck. I don't think we need all of these big monsters. Okay, we don't need the Wyvern. We don't need the Luster Dragon. Potentially don't need Doom Caliber Knight. And I don't think we need Steamroid. I'm happy to keep Submarine Roid because it interacts with these. We probably don't need Mask of Weakness. We probably don't need Embodiment of Apophis. There, whatever that card's called. Jillian Rage is probably fine to take out. Is Armalise even worth playing? I feel like it's just not. And I don't think we want to play Metal Reflect Slime either. So then we just need to drop 5 cards. What would people drop as the last 5? I think we can just drop like Steel Cage, the Megalodon. We have like too many big monsters. Do we just drop Big Shield Gardener plus the 2 shields? I think so. That looks reasonable. Let's see how that is. I will go first. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Format diversity is... So the issue with format variety isn't a case of formats being printed, it's a case of the formats that the player themselves gravitate towards. So if you look at the successful formats in a game like Magic, you'll see that like Commander is by far the most successful, and Pauper is very popular as well. And those are both formats that had very little impact, or they have very little input from the game's original design team. That is fine. So realistically, I think if Yu-Gi-Oh! Is to have a successful alternate format, it either requires a lot more support than is currently given to alternate formats, or else it requires us as players to say, hey, look, this is a format that we're going to play. Like, GOAT format is the closest thing that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has to format variety, and that's a format that was entirely pushed by players. Now, obviously, it's something that was previously designed as a main format, but the idea of GOAT itself is something that players said, hey, look, we want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! This way, even though it's not how people are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At the moment. Ancient Gear Golem is a card. Gonna make it a smaller Ancient Gear Golem. I could Hyper Hammerhead, bounce that, and then do 3k to him. No, because he has to attack first, so I can't. I think so. Modern is an interesting format because while it's relatively stable at the moment, it has had some very poor formats in recent years. The most obvious would be the Eldrazi format that happened around the time of Out of the Gatewatch, where Eldrazi just was the meta. I think in general, Modern does better because it's supported with competitive events. So it's a case of like there was such a long period of time where Modern was required to compete as a full-time competitive player. And Yu-Gi-Oh just doesn't have that. Like, there was the Battle Pack 2 sealed YCS, but I'm not aware of much beyond that. Yeah, the Team YCS was a fantastic step, but again, that's not really presenting a unique format. If they went for something like Team Unified, which is something that Magic has, where everybody on the team share a card pool. Okay, I think we just killed the AI now. I don't think rotation solves any problems that Yu-Gi-Oh currently has, because so like rotations are good for reducing complexity of entry to a game. So like Magic uses rotation because if a new player had to learn all of the cards from Mirrodin onwards to start enjoying tournaments, like you just wouldn't get new players for the game. However, with Yu-Gi-Oh, you have the advantage that the demographic that starts playing Yu-Gi-Oh is a younger age group, which means they have a bit more time to learn stuff and they don't go into high level competitive as early. Whereas, so because the kind of game of Magic is so centered around tournament play, like you have lore to Magic, but it is not the main thing. The main thing is the game of Magic. Yeah, Varga, we can play a draft after this one. Yeah, rotations for handling power creep is definitely a discussion that you can have. You do have the case that power creep can happen the opposite way, which is also an issue. I'm still not entirely convinced that rotation fixes problems for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, the core issue is that with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, if I, like, most people are going to enter Yu-Gi-Oh! Either from word of mouth or through the show. And if I'm entering through the show and I've watched all of classic Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I arrive at a tournament with my Dark Magician deck and I can't play it, it creates such a bad user experience. And the cards that cause power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are like the core issue with power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently has been a case of having so many cards that just do the same thing. So it's not a case that we're avoiding designs. It's a case that they design too many cards which function the same, and then like in the case of a deck like Goki, the deck just had like 25 cards that all serve the exact same purpose in the deck. But I think it would be far more successful if the game could find a way to balance around that. Like, if you wanted an alternate to Advanced Constructed, what I would be likely to propose would be to push like a singleton format with a list, because the singleton format, I believe, would fix a lot of the issues that we currently experience with Advanced Constructed for newer players. Like, singleton is new player friendly because they don't need to access as many cards. And then singleton is also a lot less consistent. You'll still need to have certain cards banned and forbidden, because things like Makia the Destroyer just like fundamentally warp the game. And I would argue that Firewall Dragon potentially also does that. Did I just set that this turn? I think I might be dead. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Power Creep is definitely an issue. Oh, goodbye, Mr. Dino Friend. How is the audio and actual stream? Is it coming through okay for people's viewing? Audio and setup is good. Cool. Yeah, I'm like very inexperienced with streaming, and that has caused one or two small issues with getting everything ready for best of or for TKB Live. But we should be good this week. Tomorrow should go smoothly and without any issues. Okay, if anybody would like to have a Battle Pack draft match, I will just look for a match now. I will just take the first one that shows up. Argo, we will have our rematch. I'm red this time. I don't think I've ever been red in this game before. Okay. So I think I prefer this format to Battle Pack 1. Battle Pack 1 has so many insanely powerful cards that, like, having to play around Harpy's Feather Duster and such every game is kind of spooky. I know, T-set pass. What do I do? My hand might be a little bit heavy. Did I ever commit on big monsters? Probably, but it's all about finding that balance. Tangrisnir. Plus Time Machine. He has 3 tributes. If I see an Egyptian god card turn 2, I'm going to be very upset. Also, the artwork on these Nordic Beast tokens leaves a lot to be desired, I think. Anyway. That is Cyber Valley. Cyber Valley is a lot less scary than a Tree Tribute. Actually, much scarier than a God card here would just be, yeah, that's fine. If Argo had a Beast King Barbarous for 3, that would be very scary. That is a lot of card draw there. We are going to be slightly behind on card advantage for a while. I'm pretty sure this set came out before the September 2014 rules change. So I'm pretty sure, so like there's a few weird things in Legacy of the Duelist where like this format is not entirely accurate to the format that it's designed on, because the original format was a draw during the first turn, and also certain cards like Sinister Serpent don't have the correct card text. Which I'm sure you're all very, like, you're as concerned about this as I am, because it's a travesty. I tackled the important issues. Well, I guess we'll bring back her Ultimate Tyranno. I think Ultimate Tyranno is more valuable than getting piercing damage. Yeah, it is. We're getting to clear 4 monsters with the Ultimate Tyranno. That's a lot of value. Whoa. If this card is... whoops. Okay. I'm a silly Billy. Oh, I didn't know that Ultima Tyranno worked that way. I have learned some very useful skills that I will definitely use again at some point in my dueling career. Yes, definitely. Well, I deserve to get punished for this. Ripper Dipper. That doesn't mean that I will be punished, though. Very important life skill is to play bad, but don't get punished. I mean, that's no fun. I don't think I have any way to interact with it, but that's no fun. So I came to the conclusion that controller is the best way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, which is kind of weird. I mean, we can start burning with Superconductor Tyranno, but that seems quite unnecessary. No, we just say go ahead. Like, there's no reason to commit anything else to the board because we have the ultimate Tyranno. And so, like, we have a full clear from the Tyranno. And then we also have the Gene Warped Werewolf for, like, emotional support and whatnot. And the Pitch Black Werewolf makes the board really good. But we won't play it until next turn. But I think if Argo doesn't establish any large threat, like the only scary quick play spell would be Enemy Controller. You have Half Shut as well and maybe Ego Boost. But none of those are of major concern. I think Tribute to the Doomed, or Offerings to the Doomed, the quick play spell, destroy target monster, skip your next draw phase, is potentially in this set. So I guess it could be used on a Pitch Black followed by activating a trap card. But I think realistically we're in a good position here. And like that's kind of the issue at Steel Cage is, okay, Threatening Roar is a card. I will concede a turn to a Threatening Roar. But yeah, the Nightmare Steel Cage hasn't generated any tempo on board. So effectively we both just drew 2 cards, but 1 card was spent in the process, which kind of makes me 50-50 on it. Again though, when Argo has cards like the Graceful Charity, which are letting them draw more cards, potentially it can start causing problems for me. Flake Spreader's decent. I'm really not big on Revival Gem. How much card draw does this deck have? I think we've seen Pot of Greed, Shard of Greed, and Graceful Charity all into one deck. It's a lot of draw power. Yep. If this is a Beast King, we're dead. Yep. That is a Beast King. Can we do anything here? We can. Okay. We're fine. We go activate this. We tribute our Gene Warped Werewolf, as it's our least valuable card. We target Beast King. And then we will activate our Call of the Haunted just for giggles. And then we watch as everything we worked towards slowly crumbles and gets blown up. We did it. We had to play around. We might also be slightly behind here. The Mausoleum makes what could have been a terrible hand not a bad hand. We don't have any more revival. There's nothing in the graveyard that we super want. Like, I'll take Beast King at some point if we need the beater, but I'm not going to proactively grab it. So I think we just go Submarine Roid and we bop them. And we are just waiting to see if there is a response on summon. There is not. We will go to battle phase. Almost skipped the battle phase, which would have been very unfortunate. That is not a good way to end a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Submarine Roid is possibly one of my favorite card designs in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just such a cute little card. PWT, you still miss FTK format, but which FTK format do you miss? There's so many of them. As in Pendulum FTK? I think Pendulum FTK, they could have just hit Delirious and kept the rest of the Pendulum stuff. There was a lot of stuff that could have been hit in that format to tidy it up a little bit and make it a bit less silly. That's a lot of back row. We have to commit 2 monsters if we want to be able to actually clear the Fortress Warrior. Danger Firewall FTK, you don't miss that format. Don't be silly. I mean, I like seeing Cannon Soldier being played as much as the next guy. But also... sorry. Yeah, I'm not I'm not convinced that the Danger Firewall FTK format is one that we need to revisit. Formats like that are fine for one event, but you can only FTK so many people before it gets a little bit silly. That's just my thoughts. I would love to see Dark Worlds being relevant again because they're a cute archetype. I'm surprised they actually haven't gotten more support recently, because they are one of the archetypes that I would consider relatively like fan favorite. Like Lightsworn got Minerva, Lightsworn got Curious, and I'd consider Dark Worlds to be kind of similar caliber to Lightsworn. That is a lot of back row. If I believe hard enough, will my top deck become a Feather Duster? Oh, that is not a Feather Duster. Considering we have Mausoleum, it may be worthwhile to cycle the Hyper Hammerhead with our Herald of Creation to grab a more impactful card. Why would you power frame my Herald of Creation? What does this do again? Okay. Face up monster you control is target for an attack. Target the attack target, negate the attack, and if you do, equip this card to that target. Yeah, that's fine. This Fortress Warrior does not want to die. Oh, and Mirror Wall, but the attack's negated. That is bad order. This is why it is important to read our cards. I should also check my graveyard before I activate effects. Okay, we will discard our Superconductor Tyranno. We will add our... We could add this and distribute Seminate. We'll just add the Ultimate Tyranno. Yeah. So, is there anything that anybody in the chat would like us to talk about during TKB Live tomorrow? Ooh, Scapegoat. Wild. If another Beast King Barbaros comes down for 3, I'm gonna be very sad. I've played one tournament with this set, and I think I had 3 Barbaros in my sealed pool, which was insane. Okay. I'm not sure what you're doing, Argo. I'm very confused. AB, Fairy Tale Snow coming back, I can get behind that. Like, the card is the silly card, but I think it's reasonable to want it back. Like, particularly now that Mystic Mine exists, Fairy Tale Snow isn't as big of a problem card, I don't think. It is... Again, it's a case of it's a very strong card, but just being a very strong card is not enough reason to ban a card. Huh. That is a board. So I think we're going to Mausoleum, summon Ultimate Tyranno, and then we're going to Autonomous Action Unit and grab back. Oh, well, actually, no. Mirror Wall is in play. We need a way to deal with that before we do anything else. Do we have any ways to deal with that? Are we just dead? Can we kill by killing all of the sheep tokens? I think we can. So we're 3,700. We get halved to like 171 something like that. 1850, and we do 1850 times 3, so we're just shy of 6,000 damage, which means the wall breaks. You need to activate your field spell, Daniel. Let's just double check to make sure there isn't any obvious choice in here. No, there is not. So we just set the hammerhead, summon, or no, we can't set the hammerhead, we have to just summon the Tyranno. Okay, we have summoned the Tyranno. Does it get halved every time it attacks? It is. I mean, if it's getting halved every time it attacks, then we're dead. No, okay, so it can only be halved once. That's fine then. That's... main phase 2, I think we just have to autonomous add back the... or just summon the Beast King. And then hope for the best. AA, if Fairy Tale Snow negated the effects of the cards it banished, yeah, I mean, you could bring it back. I don't think it changes. Well, that is quite a big change, because it means you can't dodge things like Called By with it. But I don't think dodging things like Called By and effect failure are inherently the unfair parts of Fairy Tale Snow. I think we're gonna Hyper Hammerhead and just bounce the Fortress Warrior. Yeah, the more I think about it, if Snow got errated to negate everything she banished, she would be a much worse card. I think you could definitely print a card with that effect. I think that is... you get into the region where it's like, have you fundamentally changed the card's identity by the amount that you've changed it? You are going to half shut my Beast King? Half shut the Botanical Lion? Okay, half shut Botanical Lion. To keep it alive, I mean, we go battle phase anyway, just to do a little bit of reconnaissance. a good way to win free games is to just take actions that you can take to kind of confuse your opponent. So like attacking into a fortress warrior when you know that it's redundant can sometimes just make your opponent take an action. People do weird things under pressure. We're getting very close to dying to deck out, which is kind of scary. Yep, that works. Nope, we are not going to activate any cards. Does that fix our problem? What can we get back with Magician of Fate? We can get Graceful Charity, so we can kill ourselves. Enemy controller seems like it is a good problem solver here. Yeah, okay. We're gonna set the girl. If we are on the plan of, oh, and we crashed. Huh. Hello, that's me. So, that's weird. I'm not sure what crashed. AA, you want BA Hydrolander back. Yeah, I think Snow was quite interesting in that deck. I'm not even convinced that Snow breaks Thunder Dragons at the moment. Like, I don't rate Thunder Dragons very highly at all, to be honest. I'll remove the Berserk Gorilla from the screen. Yeah, that was a very close game. The Fortress Warrior getting buffed up is quite strong. Like, it's just a big wall. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining me. I am going to be ending the stream now as I have a deck profile being sent in from a player, so I'm going to try get that recorded. And hopefully I will see you guys for TKB Live tomorrow. If you have any ideas of stuff you'd like covered, commented here or send a message to Facebook or whatever you feel like doing. And otherwise, have a lovely evening, and I hope you all have a lovely Monday, and I'll catch you soon.